Hi there, welcome to Board Games with Scott. This week I'm going to be talking about Power Grid. Power Grid is a game by Friedemann Friese, who created it originally as a game called Funkenschlag in Germany. And it's a game that involves a number of mechanisms. There's an auction mechanism, there's a stock market mechanism, there's a placement mechanism. And it's interesting because it puts all these things together. So why don't we... Hey! Hey! Who turned out the... Where'd the power go? What's going on? Oh, come on now. This isn't funny. So the light's gone out. Can anyone help with that?
I might do.
Oh,
I can help you, yes.
Where did you come from? Look, everyone, it's Friedemann Friese here to talk about Power Grid. How did you do that? That's pretty amazing. Do you just come whenever someone needs to play the game and needs some lights?
Yes, sure.
All right. Well, this is the game. This is Power Grid. We've pulled out some of the bits here. So since you're here, why don't you tell the folks at home a little bit about what they get with the game?
The game is about power, yes. You are a company building up power plants to power up the country. You can power up Germany or USA, whatever you like. The board is two-sided, so you decide at the beginning of the game where do you want to play, and then look for it to power cities with power plants. You have here, and you need resources, of course, for powering. You have power plants that use oil or coal or even burn garbage, but you have, of course, nuclear power plants and the ecological type of things, solar, wind, whatever it is.
Okay.
And you build a grid over the country to connect cities to power more, because you are the one who wants to earn a lot of money out of it. And so for that reason you want to buy cheap resources and sell a lot of power.
Okay, so that's a good overview of what goes on.
Yeah.
Let's look a little bit more closely at each of the different phases of the game.
Yes.
So what's the first thing?
Yeah, the first thing, we have this overview card here. This is the turn overview. Very important in the game. Might sound not so important, but it is. We determine the turn order. Yeah.
Okay.
Just look who's weakest or lowest player in the game, and who's the one who's really rocks the game, and we adjust it, and
that's determined by the.
It's determined by how many cities you have in your power grid, where you are, how many cities are connected from you, and then the person with the biggest grid has to decide first which new power plant he or she wants to buy, and it's a big disadvantage because power plants in the game are getting better and better, and if I buy earlier I have not so good power plants to choose. In the beginning we begin with the very low power plants. Maybe this one here is a coal, the 4 is the price of the power plant, but you have to put 2 coal in it to get 1 power out of it. Later on a very good power plant will cost you 25, a lot of money, but you put 2 coal in and get 5 cities with power, so it's 5 as good as the other one, and it costs more than 5 than it, but you just really rock this because you can't have more than 3 power plants, so you have to look to have good power plants because you don't have so much space for it. And beginning with something like that in oil is the same beginning as to have these tiny little, wherever it is, 3 power plant, and it's 2 oil for 1 city. And later on it goes up to maybe 2 oil for, and we sure have a really big one, which is it's okay. It's a 3 coal to put in, but you really can connect 7 cities with it. It's a coal here, it's a 36. So you have to decide what's going on, and the very tricky mechanism in there is we have an actual market on power plants and a future market, and these are 8 power plants sorted by number. And in this game, the low numbers can be bought by now, and the high numbers are not yet to be. You cannot buy them by now. So you have to pick one of the top row to buy it, and if you bought one, then a new is turned over, and if it's high numbers, then the lowest number from the other row gets into the market.
So to summarize, the lead player chooses first one of the 4 least expensive power plants and puts it up for auction. People bid on that power plant, raising the bid, and the person who bids the most wins. That person cannot buy another power plant in this auction. If it was not the lead player who bought the power plant, then the lead player gets to pick again one of the 4 cheapest power plants and put that one up for auction. This continues until all the players have had a chance to buy a power plant.
Yeah.
So you get your power plants, and then what's the next stage?
After that, sure, you need resources.
Okay.
Yeah? You have a resource market down there. We have different prices for resources. Maybe on this, we are now at a price for coal of 4, yeah? And because the lower spaces are not filled anymore, maybe you see the oil is at a price of 3, and very cheap garbage is at a price of 2, yeah, and our uranium is there on 6, yeah? So you look, okay, garbage is the cheapest one. Okay, I'll pick a garbage. First of all, you've seen that. You wanted to pick a garbage power plant that makes power out of garbage. If it's not there, okay, I choose the oil because it's cheaper, yeah? Or maybe I use the uranium. It is very expensive at 6, but you only need 1 piece of uranium per nuclear power plant, and from oil you may need 2 or 3. Mm-hmm. So yeah, if I compete with you on maybe coal, yeah, and I buy that coal that I can buy and store, and you do it, we both make our prices expensive, and other players may be not competing on the oil price, yeah, just taking what they need and agreeing in that and trusting each other. Yeah, then they do it better.
Okay.
And then we have to look, yeah? And it is okay, I want to burn you, I want to kill you out, yeah? But, I shoot myself. And yeah, this is a thing in this buying resource thing. But if you buy these raw material, these resources for the game, there's a maximum what could be in the game. And if I'm the one and buy market empty, so you don't get it, it's really cool. This is okay, and then the price, I don't care about it. Mm-hmm. If I can buy it, I kick you out. And you have to look that you're not going to come into the situation. A lot of people might say, okay, yeah, it's a bad game if you can kicked out. Yes, you can kicked out because you were not good in gaming. Mm-hmm. It was not luck or random or a die roll that brings you there. It was your own strategy to bring there. Yeah, if coal is expensive, don't buy a coal power plant. Nobody forces you to do so.
Right. Now, this is also a mechanism that helps the weaker player to catch up.
Totally. The weaker player can begin buying. Yeah?
Okay.
And he's buying the very cheap resources, and they're going up in this round. It also helps the weaker players, yes.
Okay.
And to catch up the leading player.
So we buy our resources. We got our power plants. We buy our resources. Now, what's the next step?
Yeah. Now we have to check. We have. I maybe have this 25 very good power plant. I really like it. It's a 33 and 1 nuclear power plant. You may look at here. Down here with the 23, I can have 3 cities. 25, 5 cities. 33, 4 cities, which is a sum of 12 cities. I can connect, and I'm just at 10 cities. So I just want to build 2 more cities. We're in Germany here by now. I'm in Freiburg and Stuttgart and Mannheim, Saarbrücken, yeah. But I would really want to go to Augsburg, Constance, Munich, Regensburg, yeah, just to build up, yeah. I'm just in, and look at it. It costs me 14 to go from Freiburg to Constance, yeah. It is more expensive to go from Stuttgart to Augsburg for 15, yes. But from Augsburg to Munich, it's 6. Yeah, if I'm in Constance, I'm stuck. Yeah, mm-hmm. I have to pay the 15 to Augsburg, whatever, or the 17 from Constance to Augsburg would be silly. Yeah, mm-hmm. to pay more for the same. So now, in the first of all, you think Constance would work out, but I need 2. So don't take Constance by now, just Augsburg, Munich. Yeah, because I'm nearer to the other player. Yeah, and Constance I can take anyway. And again, the player who's worst, yeah, begins to build, so can pick up the cities. And the leading player looks at the end, ooh, there's nothing left for me, ouch. Something like that happens, yeah.
So when you were designing this, how did you determine the numbers that were going to connect up between the different cities?
It is totally easy. It's just topological reasons.
Okay.
It is just I made a grid out of over this country, and just to count out how many spaces are between, and how many of them are with mountains, and how many of them are with rivers.
That's very interesting that you used, I don't think many of us knew that there was an actual logic behind why these numbers were there, other than that number was obviously $1 more than I have right now. That was your plan, you know.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's high logic. This map is totally unbalanced, but it is not important for the game because you can choose where you start.
Right. Everyone has the same information.
Yes. It is not secret information, and you're not placing your first thing and then reveal what it's cost to go there. No, you just look at it and see, okay, in Germany we have this area around Cologne and Duisburg, Essen, which is called Ruhrgebiet, this all big industrial area. The cities are totally close to each other. It's totally cheap to go from one to another. Yeah, okay, then I go there because it's good, but another player will go there too, and then we compete on each other on the cities there. Or I say, okay, this one is more expensive here, but I'll be there alone.
Right.
What is better? Yeah, play it and find it out.
So you buy your cities, and then the last thing is you...
It's just bureaucracy. It's just you're getting your money out of it. Yes, it's... Maybe I've got here, as we've seen, 12 cities, and I got 180 bucks out of it. It's called Electro in this game. And, there's a very important part for the game design in there. The difference from no city to one city in the beginning is 12. From one city to two cities is 11. So you get 11 more. Next time you get 11 more. Here only get 10 more for a new city. And later on, from 10 cities to 11 cities, it's only 7 more. So the nearer you come to the end of the game, it is not as good as to have one city, more city. It's just, okay, from 13 to 14 cities, it only brings me $5. So should I do that or not? It's a very hard decision.
Now, how do you determine who wins the game?
I determine the winning of the game is a very interesting part of it is that we have, in a way, we have 3 winning conditions, because the game ends in the moment when a player has connected a certain number of cities. At 4 players, I remember, I don't have the right number, and I do think it was 17 cities. And if one connected 17 cities, then we look in the end which one is the best player. It is not normally that player who connects the 17th city. We just look, okay, by now I have this 12 cities, so it might be not good, but I have the board is 36, so I can have, by now it's not okay, it's only 15 cities, so I need another power plant and so on. But maybe I have the 17 cities here, then I need resources for the power plants. This is one condition you have to match. You have to have the power plants for 17 cities, and you have to have the 17 cities. There are 3 different things in the game you need to fulfill to win the game, not to end the game. If I only build up cities, and 17, and I can only connect 10 cities, I lose. Nobody will do that. Okay, but it's possible. And therefore, this separating the winning and ending condition from each other is very interesting, because sometimes you're not really sure if the game is to be ended by now or next turn. So I think, okay, hopefully the game lasts 1 more round. Because then I can next turn buy me the power plant I need to connect maybe 18 cities. If the game maybe... By now I have 16 cities and can connect them. Yeah. If this ends and another player has 17 cities and connected, he wins. Yeah. If it's not possible for him now, next turn I buy me a power plant and get 19, and he's only at 18 or whatever, so I win. So it is, yeah, okay. Do you get it or not? If not, I win. If you get it by now, okay. Good fight. So this is in the game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a lot of, right at the end of the game, that's very tense, and a lot of planning, because it does come down to who powers the most cities, not just who bought the most, not just who did anything else better.
Yeah. It slows the game slightly down at the end of the game, because everybody is really counting and really calculating. But it's okay, it's for the end of the game. Yeah. It's just last round.
Well, how about some strategy tips for people playing Power Grid?
Interesting. First, if you're first playing Power Grid, the people often buy too many of the power plants. They're just so, oh yeah, catchy. There's a new one, I need it. Yeah, and you have maybe you have these both great power plants at 23 and at 25, and you can connect up 8 cities, and you are only at 4 cities to be connected. And I need for 4 cities in an average, I would say, $80, $90 or something like that, yeah? And I put whatever, I have 100 in my hand, and then I buy me this one for, it is cost at least 36, maybe I auction it and buy it for 42 or so. Then I only have 50 left, and so I can't connect the cities, and even can't connect the cities I can connect from this power plant. So it should be better just to sit one more round and buy just to fulfill it. Just this is a general strategy tip on Power Grid. Really works. Just buy you a power plant. Look how many cities you can connect the equal number you can connect. Not more, not less. And if you have connected this number of cities, then buy a new power plant. And just keep your feet quiet, or whatever it's called. It's just, okay, you see it, there is a power plant you really want to have, but say, no, not the right time for it. It is the right power plant, but not the right time for it. Just calm down, sit there, cool. Oh no, I don't want it. It's a very important part of it. Just a guess.
And it's a game where getting off if you spend too much at the beginning, it can take you some time to catch back up. If you get stuck behind in cities, you may be in trouble the whole game.
Yes, it is. It is just, or if you want to show it for, it is just buying your raw materials, the resource things for the power plants. And if you're not calculating which cities you want to connect and calculate, because you know what its cost will be, just put it aside and say this money is to be spent on raw materials. And if you think, okay, it would be cool to have more coal, you don't have it in this pile, don't grab this one. Just say, okay, I need this for the building up the grid, because the nasty thing about the game is you first buy power plants, then buy raw materials, and after that you build up your grid and see, oh, nothing left. And it's so hard, and for beginners it's so hard to see that. Just to look 3 steps to the future to see, I'll need this money.
All right, well, hopefully after you've watched this Board Games with Scott, you'll have a much better idea on how to succeed at your first few games of Power Grid and keep an idea on everything that's going on.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, well, thank you very much for talking with me about the game, and
nice
hopefully whoops. Microphone decided
I've got the power, yes.
That's right, you have the power. Thanks a lot.
Okay.
That's Power Grid. Now, there's one thing that we didn't talk about during the interview that I want to talk about here, and that's the overall game flow. The game is broken up into 4 steps, and these steps are kind of different stages of the game. The game starts in step 1, and in step 1 you can only have 1 player connecting to each city on the board. Then when 1 player has built 7 cities, you move into step 2. And in step 2, a couple things change. The first thing is that 2 people can build into each city on the board. The first person in pays the 10 cost. The second person in pays the 15 cost. The other thing that happens when you trigger phase 2 is that during each round, the lowest valued power plant is replaced in the game by a new one. There's a card that you hit in the deck which triggers step 3, and in step 3 a few more things change. The 3rd spot in each city is opened up. It costs a base of 20 to go into. And the futures market changes. At this point, there are only 6 cards that you have out at any one point, and they're all available. Rather than having 4 that you can buy now and 4 that you can buy later, you've got 6 that are always available to you. In addition, the lowest card each time is taken out. And then the final step is triggered when someone hits 17 cities or whatever the number is for the number of players you have. Another thing that changes between the steps is the resource refilling. There's a chart which will tell you for the number of players that you have how many new resources go into that resource market, and it's based upon the step. Coal, for example, becomes more and more scarce as the game goes on, but oil becomes more and more plentiful. Uranium becomes more plentiful for most numbers of players, and garbage becomes more plentiful. So this changes the resource market. Another thing I should mention is, we mentioned in the interview that there's a Germany and an English board and a Germany and a US board. There's also then been recently released an Italy board and a French board. The Italy board, as you see, is long and narrow. There's a lot of conflict between players, and you have less coal and oil available in this game. The French board has a bizarre spot at Paris with all sorts of places to build, and puts a heavier emphasis on nuclear power, making nuclear power available earlier in the game. So these will change the flavor of the game. There's also an internet download that someone made that creates a board out of a bunch of modular islands, and you do that, and that's a download that you can download and print out. So those are some ways you can actually vary up the game. What do I think about Power Grid? I like Power Grid. It's a good medium weight game. It's not too difficult up front. It doesn't look difficult, doesn't sound difficult. And it introduces players to a number of mechanisms that we have in our Euro games. So it would be a good game to introduce someone who's played a few of the lighter games and they're ready for something meatier. It's a good next step game because it's got a lot of different elements. The elements all work together. Some people feel the elements kind of collide a bit. I think they work together fine for what the game is. Takes about 2 hours to play. What you'll find, the game is not very forgiving. What I mean by that is if someone lags behind, if someone doesn't buy the same number of cities as other people, they get caught behind in money, and it can be difficult for them to catch up with the group. So you can have some laggards that kind of fall apart from the group, and they're really not ever going to catch up, and that's how it feels. Even though there are elements in the game to slow down the leading players, if the leading players are a group, that group's going to stay in the lead. They'll change between them who's in the lead, but the laggards are going to have a really hard time catching up. So that's, I'd say, the piece of the game that's the most unforgiving. Also, you can end up getting really bogged down in the calculations. As I imagine, you get an income and you've got to figure out, you've got to make that last through the auction phase, through buying resources, and through placing cities. So people can spend a long time really thinking about making sure they have enough money to spend in each part of it. So that can bog the game down a bit. But overall, I think it's a nice weight game. It gives a good introduction to a lot of elements. I'll give this game an A-. It wouldn't be the first game I'd pull out for someone, but it wouldn't be too far along. Once you've played a few of the intro games, this would be a nice next step. It's fairly intuitive. You buy power plants, you buy resources for the power plants, you connect cities together, you make money. Repeat. So there's a number of small rules, and you'll need to read the rules if you're going to play the game. There's a number of small things about how you manipulate the market and things like that that can get a little niggly, but you just deal with it and enjoy the game. So with that, I will leave you to it. Thank you for joining me here at Board Games with Scott. If you want to learn more about this game or find a link to buy it, head over to boardgameswithscott.com. Thank you very much, and I will see you in another week. Bye-bye.
And another important strategy a lot of people haven't even thought about it is the four power plant in the beginning. If you played it a lot, you will see what's happening with the 4 in the game. The 4 is the best power plant you can have in the beginning. Because it is a totally weak power plant, but it has a very low number. There's only the 3 under it, and the 3 is not so good because coal begins at a price of 1, and the 3 is for oil. It begins at a price of 3. So the 3 is not so good because you have totally expenses on getting your oil. It's not really working out. For this, you can buy a coal for 1. Yeah, and you might buy 4 coals on it for a price of 5, because you're getting the thing, and normally nobody buys the 3. So I'm the weakest player because we all have no grid in the beginning, and then the number of the power plants will be used for turn order. So in the next turn, this is an important part of it. In the next turn, I'm weakest player. Everybody of us has bought one power plant in the first round, totally in need for a next power plant, and I am the guy who sits last. If you play 5 players, 4 players will buy a power plant, and then the big ones come. And I say, okay, just buy that, I wait, and I get a real cool power plant. And therefore the 4 is very good. And a lot of people, I see a lot of people playing it and giving the 4 away for $6 or $7, but I do think it is worth at least $8.